The Straw Hat Pirates' sprawling adventure across the Grand Line has been a staple of anime ever since the late 90s, and with more than 1,000 episodes, it's fair to say that One Piece has had more than a few unforgettable moments. Narrowing down this list to just 10 of the best moments from One Piece was an extraordinarily difficult task, and some tough cuts had to be made. But regardless, here are our picks for the top 10 One Piece moments as of episode 1088 of the anime. Note, of course, that by the very nature of this video, there are going to be major spoilers for One Piece. We are holding nothing back here, but we will inform you before each entry what episode the spoiler covers, so you can skip the ones you haven't come across yet. And with that said, let's kick this one off with... This moment is what solidified Zoro as badass of the Straw Hat crew. With Luffy exhausted from his battle with pirate warlord Moria and the Straw Hats being taken out by warlord Kuma, Zoro is left standing. Zoro, realizing he can't win against Kuma, offers his life up in exchange for Luffy's, to which Kuma agrees, but only if Zoro can take on Luffy's injuries as his own. In this emotional moment, we realize the strong bond that Zoro, the pirate hunter, has forged with his crewmates, and that he is willing to give up his life to spare theirs.
ここで何があった？何もなかった。
Sanji has one of the saddest backstories in all of One Piece. He just can't catch a break. Young Sanji could care less about pirates, especially Zeph, who was stranded on a deserted island with him. Nonetheless, the subtlety of Zeph's actions made for a heartwarming moment when Sanji finds out that Zeph sacrificed his own leg for him. The fact that Sanji thought Zeph was this horrible pirate this whole time, only to find out that he's one of the most selfless people he's ever met, is definitely one of One Piece's most memorable moments.
なんでだよ。なんでだ。
お前が俺と同じ夢を持ってたからだ。
オールブルー。
Roof Piece! The term fans have been throwing around leading up to the beginning of the end of the epic Wano story arc. It was only a matter of time before this confrontation happened, and oh boy, did the anime step it up. Not only were the fans excited, but you can see how much love and care Toei put into the entire episode. From the entrance of the worst generation, to Luffy's stroll past the emperors, and Kinemon's heartfelt plea, you can feel emotions building up. Then they follow that up with the quick flashes of their journey up to that point as far back as Raizo's safety and Pedro's sacrifice. Finally, we see Luffy's vibrant Red Rock punch, and we are booming in the background to accompany one of the biggest smackdowns in all of anime. It was only about 5 minutes, but that whole sequence locks you in and reminds us, the viewers, why we chose to be on this special journey with Luffy.
俺はモンキー D ルフィ。お前らを超えて海賊王になる男だ。
The Sabaody arc is jam-packed full of game-changer moments, but there is one moment that helped define who the Straw Hats are today, and that's at the hands of the stoic and overpowered Kuma. Up until this point, Luffy and the crew have overcome challenges with great difficulty, but there was no escape from the utter devastation that took place on the archipelago. Even Luffy knew they didn't have a chance, and he's not one to give up so easily. As he watches his friends begin to disappear, he yells out in desperation to escape, not knowing it was futile. When he's finally the last one standing, Luffy can't help but cry in agony for not being strong enough to save his friends. This is the first time we've seen our plucky protagonist so vulnerable. With the final disappearance of the Straw Hats, we're left in shock to only know that the Straw Hats will never be the same after this dreadful defeat.
仲間一人も救えない。
We can't talk about the previous moment without also mentioning the inciting incident that led to it. If there was a list for best, or at the very least, most cathartic singular punch in all of anime, this punch would be at the top. There isn't a single person with a beating heart who watched episode 396 that wasn't begging Luffy to beat the heck out of St. Charlos at Sabaody. And when he finally did, man did Luffy make it count. Like most of the best moments in One Piece, what makes this so special is the build-up and ultimate payoff. We had spent the last few episodes learning why the Celestial Dragons are basically untouchable, and the serious consequences that come with laying a hand on them. And yet, Luffy strikes him down anyway, without even a second thought. The sound of crying fills the air as Akainu's magma fist plunges through the back of Ace, taking his life in front of Luffy. In Ace's last heartfelt words, he thanks everyone for loving him as he dies on the battlefield. We feel the weight behind Ace's death, and we are stuck watching Luffy in shock, realizing, just as he did, that his life has forever changed.
Arigato!
Those who aren't One Piece fans may find it weird to be emotionally attached to an inanimate ship, but anyone who's seen The Funeral of the Going Merry likely knows what it's like to shed tears over a dying boat. The way the focus shifts from crew member to crew member as they each relive their own introduction to the Merry, and then they hit you with the emotional gut punch of the disembodied voice of the Merry saying, "I'm sorry, I wish I could have taken you further." I'm crying just thinking about it. And then they hit you with Luffy, who had been holding his shit together up to this point, utterly breaking down, apologizing for every small thing he did to the ship. It all adds up to one of the most heart-wrenching moments in all of One Piece.
僕は本当に幸せだった。君たちがいたから。
なんだ。
アーロンってのはドイツだ。
The scene with Luffy and Nami during the Arlong Park arc had one of the most defining moments for the Straw Hat crew and for many fans of the series. At this point, we've known Nami as a scheming, confident woman who can take care of herself, but her dire situation with the Arlong pirates brings her to tears as her family and friends prepare to fight to the death. Seeing Nami drop to the ground in despair, screaming in anger as she attempts to cut up her despised Arlong tattoo, is one of the most heartbreaking scenes in anime. It's at this moment that we see a different side of Luffy that's calm and serious. With the last ounce of Nami's stubbornness whittling away, she finally says to Luffy, "Help me." This iconic moment, followed by Luffy's gesture of giving his treasured straw hat to Nami with a resounding "Of course I will," is why Luffy and this wonderful series is so beloved. Though its place in this list might be controversial, Gear 5 was an event so big that it took over the internet, and for good reason. To say that Gear 5 is the perfect culmination of Luffy's journey so far would not be an understatement, and the pomp and circumstance in which the transformation debuted should show that the creators of the anime feel similarly. Luffy's delightful romp around Onigashima in Gear 5 was not only a joy to behold from an animation standpoint, but one that also marks Luffy's all-important ascension into the fabled Joy Boy. A moment that both tastefully encapsulates all that has occurred, as well as foreshadows the coming epic in Luffy's final step in becoming the King of the Pirates. This moment is the payoff that we had been waiting for what felt like 100 episodes for. Ever since she left the Straw Hats without saying a word out of fear of losing her friends, like she lost her family on Ohara, we, along with Luffy and crew as well, had been waiting for Robin to do something, anything, to show some sort of resistance to the Ruthless and Weasley spandom. That moment finally comes in episode 278, where, upon gazing at her captain and crewmates on the other side of Enia's lobby, and seeing that they're willing to go to war even with the world government if it means having her in their lives, Robin finally responds to Luffy in one clear voice. And that's all that Luffy needed. And that's our list! Here are some other amazing moments that almost made the cut. Usopp vs. Luffy, episode 236, Sabo's return, episode 663, Bon Clay's sacrifice, episode 451, Sanji vs. Luffy, episode 808, and Zoro's fight with King, episode 1062. What were some of your favorite moments in One Piece? Let us know in the comments, and if you want more anime, check out our list of the top 10 anime of all time, along with our list of the biggest anime coming in 2024. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.